You walk into a room and someone is in a bad mood. You don't know why. You didn't do anything. But within minutes, you feel it too. Heavy, tense. And by the time you leave, you're exhausted and you don't even know why. Or maybe it happens with someone close to you. Your friend is anxious before an exam, and suddenly you feel anxious too. Your mom is stressed, and your whole body tightens up. Your partner is upset, and even if they say nothing, you already know. You already feel it. In your chest, in your stomach, like it's happening to you. If this sounds familiar, this video is for you. Because what you're experiencing isn't weakness. It isn't you being too emotional or too sensitive. There is an actual neurological reason this happens. And more importantly, there are real ways to stop it from taking over your life. Let's start with why this happens at all. Inside your brain, there are neurons called mirror neurons. They were discovered in the 1990s by neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti, and what they do is genuinely fascinating and kind of unsettling. When you watch someone experience an emotion, your mirror neurons fire as if you are experiencing that emotion yourself. Your brain is literally simulating what the other person feels, not imagining it, simulating it. This is part of how humans developed empathy, by being able to feel what others feel. Kept us connected, kept us safe in groups. It is, in many ways, one of the most beautiful things about being human. But for some people, this system is turned up significantly higher than average. Researchers call this sensory processing sensitivity, a trait first identified by psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron in the 1990s. People with this trait, often called highly sensitive people or HSPs, process emotional information more deeply and more intensely than others. Studies suggest that around 15 to 20% of the population has this trait. So if you're someone who absorbs emotions easily, you are not broken. You are wired differently, and that difference has real advantages. You tend to be deeply empathetic, creative, and perceptive in ways others aren't. The problem isn't the sensitivity. The problem is not knowing how to work with it. Here's where it gets important to understand. Absorbing other people's emotions becomes a problem when you can no longer tell the difference between what's yours and what isn't. You start the day feeling fine, and by noon you're carrying someone else's anxiety without realizing it. You take on other people's stress as if it's your responsibility to fix it. You leave conversations feeling worse than when you entered them. Over time, this leads to something psychologists call emotional exhaustion, a state where you've given so much of your emotional energy to other people that there's almost nothing left for yourself. And there's something else worth knowing. For many people who absorb emotions easily, this pattern started in childhood. If you grew up in a home where emotional tension was high, where you learned to scan the room and read moods just to feel safe, your nervous system developed a kind of hypervigilance. You became incredibly good at detecting how other people feel. It was a survival skill. It helped you navigate unpredictable situations. But that skill followed you into adulthood, and now it activates in every situation, whether you need it or not. So what do you actually do? Because understanding where this comes from is useful, but you need real tools. Not just set boundaries and practice self-care. Actual, specific things you can do. The first thing is to learn to ask yourself one simple question. Is this mine? When you notice an emotion coming up, especially a sudden shift in how you feel, pause and ask, was I feeling this before I entered this conversation or this room? If the answer is no, it probably isn't yours. This sounds simple, but it's actually a skill that takes practice. Psychologists call this emotional differentiation, the ability to distinguish your own emotional state from the emotional states of those around you. The more you practice asking this question, the better you get at it. The second thing is to physically ground yourself when you start absorbing someone else's energy. Research in nervous system regulation shows that physical grounding, pressing your feet into the floor, holding something solid, slow and deliberate breathing, activates the parasympathetic nervous system and creates a physiological anchor back to yourself. When someone else's emotions start flooding in, your body needs a signal that says, I am here. This is my body. These are my feelings. Grounding gives your nervous system that signal. The third thing is to practice what some therapists call compassionate witnessing instead of merging. There is a difference between feeling with someone and feeling as someone. You can be fully present with a person who is struggling. You can care deeply, you can listen, you can support, without taking their emotional state into your own body as if it's yours to carry. Think of it like this: you can stand next to someone in the rain without getting soaked if you have an umbrella. The umbrella isn't distance. It's awareness. It's the ability to say, I see your pain. I am here with you, and it is not mine to absorb. The fourth thing, and this one is important especially if you grew up in an environment where other people's emotions always came first, is to give yourself permission to leave. Not every room, not every conversation, but the ones that consistently drain you without giving anything back. Psychologist Dr. Judith Orloff, who has researched empaths extensively, describes this as protecting your emotional energy, recognizing that your sensitivity is a resource, not an unlimited one, and that you get to decide how it's used. And the fifth thing is to create a recovery practice after emotionally intense interactions. For people who absorb emotions easily, some alone time after social situations isn't optional. It's physiological maintenance. Even 10 minutes of quiet, with no input from other people, gives your nervous system a chance to sort through what's yours and what isn't. A walk, a shower, sitting in silence, whatever helps you come back to yourself. Here is what I want you to take away from this. If you feel other people's emotions deeply, if you walk into rooms and instantly pick up on tension, if you leave conversations carrying feelings that aren't yours, you are not too much. You are not dramatic. You are not weak. You have a nervous system that is extraordinarily attuned to other people. And that is something worth understanding, worth working with, and worth protecting. You don't have to stop feeling. You just have to learn where you end and other people begin. That line is everything. And the more clearly you can see it, the more of yourself you get to keep.